Hello, welcome, or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey today. So this is a fun new little series. We're going to be doing the readings by menstrual phase, by following the menstrual cycle. Now, you do not have to be a person who experiences the menstrual cycle in order to watch these messages. Nor do you have to be in that particular phase if you are a menstruating person in order to watch, that particular video. If you follow your cycle or if you track it, then you can save, the other 3 videos and come back to them once you are in that phase or that part of your cycle, and just see how the messages line up with whatever is going on in your life. But there are 4 phases to the menstrual cycle, so we're gonna do a video on menstruation, the follicular, ovulation, and the luteal phase. And we're just going to be using those as themes to build the readings around. So, we're not going to get into biology and hormones and all of that stuff. Maybe just in the sense of, building up and shedding and releasing, that type of thing. But I've already done one reading so far, and it was really beautiful. So I'm really excited to do the other 3 and put these out there. And is there anything else I wanted to say? Of course, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And I would absolutely love it if you subscribe to the channel. And so, let's just get into the reading. Great. So this is the video on the menstruation phase of the cycle. And the way that it keeps coming through for me is, the themes that come up around the menstruation phase is shedding, of course, right? Release, letting go, reflection, even, reset. And it kind of it has this feeling of you already have results, right? You have information on something, and it's kind of, okay, how did it go? What do I want to change? What do I want to add, let go of? What tweaks or changes can be made as well. And also, that reset and clarity bit, because for me personally, I always know that my menstruation is going to start because I will have 1 or 2 days of being absolutely psychotic, just rage and a super short fuse, and it's like this I don't even know, I always just kind of see this film, it's not rose-colored glasses, it's whatever the opposite of that is. And but as soon as the shedding starts, I'm back to being myself. I feel human again, and again, the clarity also. So we're just gonna see, what comes through, surrounding those themes of letting go, shedding, reset, cleansing. So let's just start getting some cards out. We have Strength, we have the Tower. The Queen of Swords, Nine of Wands, Five of Pentacles. And the Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. And then Sacred Cycles. We'll just see what comes out. I mean, I'm just kind of taking whatever, you know, to put a story together. Ovaries. Crone. And this is the Witch Oracle, which stands for woman in total control of herself. Sisterhood of Reciprocity. What is the name of this deck? I already forgot. Spirit of Alchemy, I believe. Spirit, Alchemy of the Spirit. That is too many. Just one. Simplify it down to one. The coin. Okay. Let's see what this ovaries card is. I am a creative being, a seat of creative energy within the sacred body's generative space. Ovaries hold eggs, or energetically speaking, potential life to be made manifest. Each of the eggs is formed, nurtured, and then sent forth from this space. They are infused with the unmanageable amount of wisdom and life force, programmed to replicate, grow, and then grace the world with an entirely new creation. Your visionary power is flourishing at this time. The energetic potential that is bubbling just under the surface is becoming more noticeable, demanding your acknowledgement, time, and attention. This spark does not necessarily need to be an official project or have any particular purpose behind it other than just allowing your creative energy to flow freely. Give yourself the unbound opportunity to let this power be felt and then fully expressed. You as a human are by default a creative being and have the impulse within you to bring this energy forth. Go forward and create for the sake of creating. Journal prompt: do I consider myself a creative person? Where in my life does creativity play a role? And then for the crone, I accept myself. The ancient wisdom of the crone is grown from a lifetime of learning, all living and observing. Of learning and observing, of devotion to the cycles of birth, life, death, and decomposition. It is wisdom steeped in a commitment to self-transformation. The crone's medicine lies in the acceptance of all that is, a bone-deep acknowledgement of the seasons, phases, and fluctuations that define the experience of being human. Recognizing not only the pleasure, but also the pain of what it takes, or what makes this experience ripe with wonder. She reminds you that welcoming the full spectrum of being human is the surest road to a liberated life. And that's precisely what she has to offer: liberation. This is an invitation to embrace your human magic, the dark, the light, the present moment, and all that's beyond your mortal senses. Relinquish the need to understand, and then release the notion of what has been or should be to find ease with what just is. The journal prompt is: what aspects of myself are seeking acceptance? Oh, I fucking love that. Oh, I'm loving this whole thing already. I just hope that I can remember. Sisterhood of reciprocity. Tend to your partnerships. This could be a time to review or negotiate business, renew romance or friendship, or nurture the very partnership you have with your own soul. Much of our world suffers from a lack of understanding what our ancestors knew so well. All life is dependent on the generosity of our planet. There is no thriving without her good graces for food, water, shelter, and beauty. And we'd do well to remember it with reciprocity. Is it time to share, celebrate her bounty, give back to her resources, to your relationships or community? Long ago, we honored the lack of resources in the winter season with hopeful, light-giving ceremonies. We celebrated the harvest of offerings and gratitude. We marked each season, each birth, death, and love affair by honoring our Earth Mother as benefactress. A witch carries this practice forward, knowing that all parts of her life are interdependent with the elements, creatures, and plants of the earth, the same way that her healthy psyche relies on all her parts working together. She must balance her genius with her shadow, reconcile her love with her fear, strike a balance between her logic and emotion. All parts of her life is proud of. All parts of her life she is proud of must dance with those monstrous parts she fears in order to experience a bountiful creative life. Take stock of where you are entwined in healthy partnership and where you are not. This is a time for tending the dance of reciprocity. Beautiful. And then the coin. signs of wealth and prosperity. You deserve a life in which you thrive. To allow prosperity into your life, you're going to have to break from the limiting belief that your fate is to live in scarcity. Prosperity is not only a state of mind, but it starts there. You cannot get something unless you think you deserve or can achieve it. So start by making peace with prosperity, and things will start aligning for you. With this message in mind, receive the golden coin today as a sign that the universe wants you to thrive and have a prosperous life. Pay attention to this sign in your daily life. And if you encounter a little coin, pick it up and be grateful for it regardless of its value. Picking it up means you accept the guidance being offered by the universe. I feel like, I kind of feel like there's the message. Between just these 4 cards. And what I also love is that, like, this ovaries card fell, or, it just wound up, over in this section, and this crone card wound up over in this section. I'm going to put little placeholders in here because I have no doubt I'm going to go back to them. And 47. Because I feel like they're so fitting for, like, the ovaries card on the strength card and the tower card, the crone card on the 9 of wands and the 5 of pentacles. And I don't know if I've even introduced the cards or said what they are, but we have the strength card, the tower card, the queen of swords, the 9 of wands, the 5 of pentacles, and then the ace of cups at the bottom of the deck. And I'm also obsessed with the queen of swords being in the middle, because it's like this anchor in the middle having to do with our beliefs. Swords, right? Like, swords have to do with our mindset, truth, honesty, but again, like, our beliefs. And for me, swords also have to do with ego, because that's where those beliefs and where those stories live, right? Like, whether it's good, bad, otherwise, right? But events happen in our lives. We attach a meaning to it. We attach a story, and that becomes what we believe to be possible, or what we believe we deserve, what we believe about ourselves. Like, it influences our own identities as well. I also love all of the white that is in this card, because there is a cleansing vibe to just, the color white in general, purity, cleansing. I know, like, for me specifically, when I'm doing energy work or cleansing energies around myself, I picture white light as well. So let's start with, the strength card and the tower card. Because this is, like, having strength through chaos. It's not, like, allowing yourself to get swept up in the type of chaos. And it's interesting because I knew I was going to end up having to come back to it. The ovaries card. I love that, like it said, this spark does not necessarily need to be an official project or have a particular purpose behind it other than just allowing your creative energy to flow. And so, like this Tower card, there's no getting around the fact that a substantial event could have happened, and it would have been sudden. It could have had a huge effect on like your day-to-day life, how you feel about yourself, even just the things that you believe in, the things that you believe to be true, like the foundation or the structure that you've built around a certain thing, whatever that is. It could be your day-to-day life. It could be, again, like your understanding of something. It could be your identity, the beliefs that you have as well. This is a card of Mars. But what's interesting is that, like, I see it more of a Uranus card, because Uranus is directly like associated to lightning strikes, and sudden awakenings, or like sudden shifts, just like boom, something happens, something shifts. And the thing that I remember the most about Uranus is that it's not concerned with the consequences. It just knows that there's something that needs to change, and we've more than likely been giving ample opportunity to make those changes before this situation steps in. And sometimes we're just like, you know what, I do accept like whatever happens, but I'm struggling to make that decision or to make that move myself. All right, I'll do it. Boom. Right? And yeah, it can be, dismantling or discombobulating in a way. However, though, like having the Strength card here, and even just the way that like she's standing there, like it almost kind of feels like being prepared. Like this Tower card may not have been an actual surprise. And also, like with the Strength card, there is a feeling of trusting in yourself, or like trusting in your higher power. Like if you believe in God, source, divine, spirit, it's like, this knowing that something needed to change. You could feel it coming. And instead of it being devastating, it's almost like empowering. And also the thing that was coming through with the ovaries card is, as women, we are born with all of the eggs that we're ever going to have, right? And I was also like, when I was reading the card and being reminded of that, there's also like a generational aspect to that. Like our mothers were born with the egg that would eventually become us, right? And, like her experiences in the womb and her experiences through life, you know, that being encoded in her DNA, right? Like in her navigating life and, so on, right? Like her grandma or her mom, your grandma, so there's even this like this generational change happening. Like there could be something that you are embarking on for the first time in your lineage. Like releasing an expectation that you've had in your family, or a way that you've been expected to live your life, or traditions that have been passed down, maybe not even necessarily just like within your family, but just culturally or societally, right? And it is about building. It's like, it's recognizing that something wasn't working for you. Like even this sisterhood of reciprocity here, like it could have been that however you have been living, the lens or the story, the identity, maybe just didn't quite fit all the way, or it changed at some point, or it's changing now, whatever. Because it's like whatever you have been doing, it hasn't been giving you the amount of energy that you've been giving it. That's kind of like the quote unquote like millennial, I don't want to say creed, but like like you did all of the things that you were told to do, and were, like you did those things because we were promised, or we were expected to have a certain outcome, which has not manifested. So it's like, I didn't even like doing this shit anyway. But like that's what I have been doing, because that's what I was raised, or that's what I was told to do, or that's just, like that's what you did. It never really made sense to me, but I did it. And now it's like this tower is like literally giving you an opportunity, or that opportunity to stand in your, I want to say even like your uniqueness, to cultivate, an expression of your life that is through like your own vision. It could be, how you relate to people. I mean, the sisterhood of reciprocity is on the Tower and the Queen of Swords. So it's, where has your ideals or values, wants or needs, like where have maybe those things shifted, in your partnerships, in work, in your daily routines, in how you relate to people or how people relate to you. Because it's kind of like, like this could even be trauma bonds. Because like with this, the strength card is Leo. Like I said, the Tower card is Mars, which also, we just had that Mars and Uranus conjunction at the beginning of July. So there could have been an event that happened sometime in there. There could be some sort of something that happens when Mars goes into Leo. I don't know the exact date of that. I think maybe August. Because I think it's in a sign for like around 2 months. So August-ish sometime. And of course, I mean, there could be something that comes up around the Leo full moon, which will be maybe at the end of this month. No, there will be a Leo new moon. Sorry. I wonder. Also, like if you consume astrology content, July 20th or 19th is when that dude's basket. Let's see. Brahman's basket. Let me see. Wait. Barbalt's basket. I always like get it. Barbalt's basket. When there's going to be at least 4 different planets that are all going to be at 4 degrees. Jupiter is going to be at 4 degrees. Leo. Uranus is going to be at 4 degrees. Gemini. Pluto is going to be at 4 degrees. Aquarius and Neptune is going to be at 4 degrees Aries. And it is like being talked about. I mean, like it doesn't seem like it's a bad thing. It seems like it's like a pretty good thing. There's 2 trines, 2 sextiles, and 1 opposition that make up this basket. And trines and sextiles are positive energies. So if I'm looking at it correct, the new moon would be on July 14th. So anyway, like Leo season could be a significant time to really like get introspective. The thing about the Tower too is that like that's literally like burning a bridge. And with this, like the strength card, and like I said, like every time I look at it, I think it's the orange too, like, very sacral energy, life force energy, creativity, also passion, desires. And like with this ovaries card, it's like it said in the book, I believe, right? Like just doing things for the sake of doing them, just to see what happens. Like if there's something that you have been interested in and just haven't done it for whatever reason, do it. Like, just and without expectation too. And just see what happens. Like maybe something unexpected, even with the Tower card. Maybe something unexpected will come of it. Wow, I actually had no idea I would like this so much. Or that my creativity could be expressed in this way, or whatever. Or maybe you meet a person that is kind of like on the same journey, or is, kind of in alignment with where you're at. And maybe you guys are there for the same reason, whatever. And then, like I said, like with the Queen of Swords, like queens for me are also, when we embody the energy of the suit ourselves, like this is literally the self-reflection card. Where do your beliefs come from? Who do you think you are? Like, have you ever, look how pretty this one. I'm going to hold on to this for now. There's crazy lace agate. There's labradorite. I think this is supposed to be smoky quartz, but it's not very smoky. But I love that it's like right in the middle here. It's just like the whitest or the clearest stone that's out here. There's black tourmaline as well. Crazy lace agate is joy, absorbing emotional pain, reduce anxiety. Love that. Labradorite is transformation and protection. Black tourmaline is also protection, but it like deflects negative energy, or like negative quote unquote attacks. And it's also very grounding. There's tiger's eye out here as well. But anyway, back to the Queen. The Queen of Swords. So yeah, like who do you think you are? Who are you now? Right? Like it's bringing consciousness to being, really, because I mean, for the majority of our lives, we're just doing, right? Like, and also, like, I was having this conversation with a friend the other day. I'm like, what is absolutely gnarly to me is that for the most part, our identities and our beliefs and our sense of worth and our belief of what we deserve, or how lovable or not, like we are, all of that was developed before the age of 12. And by the age of 12, we really only had, because we develop language and memory around the age of 3-ish, right? We're still in theta brain waves until like 6 or 7. Interestingly enough, around the age of 6 or 7 is when we have our first Saturn square. And then between the ages of like 7 and 12, we go from beta, we're in alpha for a little bit, which is the bridge between, or we're in theta, and then we're in alpha for a little bit, which is, the bridge between theta and beta. And then beta is like, actual consciousness and logic. And that matures by the age of 12. So imagine, right? Like having, like, whatever our experiences were from, I mean, really, of course, birth to the age of 12. But, once we developed vocabulary so we could attach words to experiences and create memories from them, and then we just started attaching meaning to shit. Interactions with our parents, interactions with, siblings, interactions with other adults, teachers, whoever else, your friends, parents, like, whoever else. And we had no clue what was going on. We had no experience to draw from, but we're making conclusions and we're making definitive statements about ourselves. This interaction happened. That must mean something about me, right? And then literally for the rest of our lives, those things, those beliefs that we developed when we were that young with that limited of experience become why we do the things that we do, why we are in relationship with the people that we are in relationship with, why we do things, why we don't do things, the fears, the anxieties. So, again, like with the Queen of Swords, it's who are you? And how did you become that person? And are the stories that you have been operating on, are they still true? Do you believe them? Do you know what they are? Like, I think that's also like, that's what inner child healing is, or like reparenting is, right? Like it's going into, or it's, finding the root of a belief and experience it. That's like EMDR therapy too, is going back into that situation, back into those feelings as well. Understanding like why you came to the meaning that you did and how that meaning has informed your life. And also, again, like, do you believe it to be true or not? Because again, like with swords, truth, but like divine truth, soul level, spirit level. Has your truth changed? I also even love that she's holding an owl here. Owls represent wisdom. You have way more information now than you did when you were 5, when you were 8, when you were 10, 12, 16, 22, whatever, right? I also even love how this is feeling very like Libra or Justice scales here, like the way that she's standing. And what is being elevated here is wisdom. And I love that we have the crone out here. there's a crow over here, which symbols change, adaptability. Gifts, even, like, have you seen those crow videos where, they'll bring you gifts? I want a crow. I want a crow to bring me a gift. And that it's being weighed against the Ace of Swords here in her hand. Again, like the sword of truth, new perspective. I mean, you can literally reinvent yourself as often as you want or that you need to. It's not just one layer that comes off at a time, right? I mean, you get through one and you're like, oh my God, there's another one. You get through that one and you're like, oh my, there's another one. But it really is like, for me, it really is like about tethering to my soul, or like, tethering to my truth, and what is holding me back from that. Especially having to do with the mind, because usually that's, also that's like where we process, or where we put words to, like, physical sensations, or to feelings that we're having, or visceral reactions that we're having. And then we have the Nine of Wands and the Five of Pentacles over here, which, just kind of going back to like the thing I was saying about like millennials. And of course, like, you don't have to be a millennial. But it's like I did all the things that I was told to do, and still experiencing once in a lifetime collapses of, industries, events, pandemics, and having to just kind of be in survival. What I love, though, is that nines are individual completion. There's all this lavender in here as well. So lavender could be like it's relaxing, and so that might be something to keep around. Lifetime of learning, accepting all that is. Yeah, a bone deep acknowledgement of the seasons, phases, and fluctuations that define the experience of being human. And also, like with the Nine of Wands, so for me, like, I see wands as, it's the actions that we take, the things that we try. I also see wands as information by way of experience, because that's what you get by trying things. What works? What doesn't work? What do you like? What don't you like? We're kind of talking about that over here. And truly, you cannot figure out some of those things without actually doing. Because, like, there's been so many things that I was convinced I was going to love, spent money on buying all of the things, tried it, hated it. There's been plenty of things I thought I was going to hate that I actually loved. There's been plenty of things I thought I would love and I did. And there's been plenty of things I thought I would hate and I also did. So, but I wouldn't have gotten that information if I hadn't tried them, if I hadn't done them. And so with the Nine of Wands, like this is like all that life experience, all the things that you have tried, everything that's worked, everything that hasn't. This is also like we're never starting from scratch. We're starting from experience. And also even, since we are like talking the menstrual or the menstruation, phase here too, that's like the way that it was coming through to me is that something has like already happened and you have information now. Now what? What am I going to do with that? And it's not necessarily back to the drawing board, which would be the follicular stage, like that's the stage that comes after the menstruation phase. But it's now I have all this information. Now I have these skills. What am I going to do with it? What can I do with it? How could I, even put all those things together and, figure out a creative way it's like creative problem solving, but, come up with a creative way to use that knowledge, that skill, that experience that I have. This is also even like a rest card because in the traditional tarot, they're beat up. And the message behind it is like you're near the finish line and you've put a lot of energy, a lot of effort. You've gotten a lot of feedback, but it's like not quite done. The 10 would be at the finish line. I also love that between the Queen of Swords and the Nine of Wands is the coin card. Because this is like knowing that you are that bitch. Like you do have the insight, the guidance, the experience to whatever this coin is to thrive. You are deserving of prosperity and whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's not so much about money anymore. I mean, it has to be because we live in capitalism and we need money to survive. But maybe that's not the reason you put your experience into, like whatever configuration you put your experience into. Maybe a regulated nervous system and less stress and less responsibility, more of a work-life balance, more of a balance, in general between, spending time with people and being alone, or, being out there doing and recharging. Maybe you've come to a realization that you want more balance in that. And that's what is prosperous to you, or that is something that would make you thrive or feel rich. Prince says, I ain't got no money, but I'm rich in personality. That is expression, right? And it's finding something that better suits your personality. Maybe discovering, like more of what your personality is now. But yeah, I mean, maybe, it's not worth it to, or, the paycheck isn't worth it. Maybe at least at that job, whatever. The Five of Pentacles is about scarcity and lack. Also, it's interesting. Like, I keep looking back at the Strength card and back at this Five of Pentacles card, and we can see these big leaves out here, kind of in the wild, right? Like in their natural habitat, and then we can see this like monstera, the snake plant, and this fern over here in pots, and I just kind of get this feeling about like the our wild side versus the domesticated side. And I wonder if the Five of Pentacles is coming from too much domesticated side. And not enough, play. And even like with the rain, because I keep looking at these raindrops, and I also just keep hearing in my head, the universe provides. And more so, like the earth provides, which is very like sisterhood of reciprocity. So maybe it's needing to get out in nature, or even just sitting outside more, if that's what's more accessible to you. And with the Five of Pentacles, like there is an imbalance somewhere, right? I mean, Pentacles have to do with our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. It's also our time and our energy. Like, where are we spending our time? Where are we spending our energy? Where are we physically showing up in our lives? Also, our physical body and our health. And even, like speaking of plants, like I have a ton of plants. And I had this realization like a few years ago that because there's this balance that happens between watering and not, right? Like if there is an issue with your plant, it's one of two things, maybe one of three: overwatering, underwatering, or pests, right? And overwatering is overloving, right? And it's like the same with our body. Like if we are giving our bodies too much sugar, too much food, too much water, even, like too many supplements, too much medicine, right? Like it causes issues. In plants, the roots rot. In us, it creates disease sometimes, or, headaches, or, skin irritations, or, however it's expressed. Underwatering, they dry up, right? And like the roots can get to a point where they wouldn't even accept any water because they're basically dead, which is neglect and abandonment, right? So it's like on that side of things, where are we neglecting ourselves, or where are we potentially abandoning ourselves as well, compromising too much? And I don't know, like pests, I guess, could be like compared to viruses, or like, bacterial things, maybe, like, but again, like it's an imbalance on either side. And it's like it's finding the right balance of watering and letting it dry out enough, and then watering again, right? Like it's and also too, trust. Trusting the balance. It's almost even like establishing a trust, like within your routine. What do you need to feel more imbalanced, or to feel more balanced? Not, we do not want to feel more imbalanced. That was an interesting, is that a Freudian slip though? Like, But yeah, like where are you doing too much? Where are you over loving? And where are you neglecting or abandoning? Whether that does have to do like with yourself, or, something else in your life. The Ace of Cups being at the bottom of the deck, I absolutely love that, because that is like being recharged. That's, literally your cup is overflowing because you are giving to yourself. And also, like, part of that is knowing how and what you need in order to feel loved, to feel, emotionally capable and available. Oh, that's way too many. How many is it? Okay. Engagement ring, engagement, partnership, commitment, eternity, completion, union, heart with a key, welcoming love, meeting the one, opening your heart, getting together, perfect. Mask, not showing true feelings, hiding, personify, pretend, delude, gaslighting. The butterfly, relationship, evolving to the nest phase, healing the inner child and growth. And then healthy choices, making healthy choices in love and life, self-love, self-care, being happier, which is very like Ace of Cups. This can't, I mean, the engagement ring can, of course, be, partnership, like, you getting engaged. But also, we were talking about doing stuff. So it could be engaging in something. Maybe it has to do with animals. There could be a new commitment coming up that is more in alignment with you. Especially like with this heart with a key. Again, I mean, we were talking about meeting people who are in alignment with you, or who are, maybe they're already doing something that you have an interest in and you can partner with them, or get involved in whatever that thing is. I love that the mask is like on top of the ace of, or the Queen of Swords. Even though it says not showing true feelings, hide, personify, pretend, delude, gaslighting, like I don't see it that way. I actually see it as like taking the mask off, showing your true feelings, like being more of your true self, getting involved in things that you are passionate about, not pretending. Anymore. And also don't allow yourself to gaslight yourself. And don't let other people gaslight you either. The butterfly's relationship evolving to the nest phase, healing the inner child, growth. Yeah. I mean, we were talking even a little bit about inner child. Well, a lot about like inner child. Taking your experiences. Butterflies are also, transformation, metamorphosis. I mean, it could be a complete shift in identity or expression. And again, like you can do that as often as you want or as is necessary. It's like the thing that holds us back is like the fear of being judged by other people, our loved ones, our friends, our, like family. And if they would judge you, fuck them. We don't need to be friends with them anymore. And also, it's usually mostly the case that they won't judge us, but it's our own, it's our own judgments like against ourselves, and all this time that maybe you have been masking and you haven't been, like expressing your true self, as we all, have done. And truly, like, when you do come out more authentic and express yourself more, true to who you see yourself as being or what your truth is, the people who need to fall away, they need to fall away. They gotta go. And it also like creates room and space for people who are more in alignment for you to come in. Healthy choices, making healthy choices in love and in life, self-love, self-care, being happier, and I love, again, that it's like, the Ace of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, it is like it's finding a balance, taking care of yourself. It's like hanging out with somebody or talking to somebody who just sucks the life out of you. Is that healthy for me to do right now? Like, do I have the energy for that? Do I want to pour my cup into that? Just as an example. Beautiful. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.